Welcome to Collaborative Art. On this module you will be learning 3D tools and the principles of texturing. You'll be working with your peers on a game project and you'll create a presentation that will be used for the assessment of this module. There are 4 stages to this module. They are introduction, production, projects and pitches, and a presentation. The introduction is in the first session. We will be reviewing the teaching plan, so you have some idea of what the content of this module will be. We'll be looking at the role of the artist, and you'll be doing some research, and primarily you'll be looking at what job it is that you ultimately want. And if you're not really sure what job you want, then it's a good idea to get an understanding of what the roles are within the industry. We will have an introduction to the essential tools, so we will be covering Max, ZBrush, Mini Core, and the Unreal Engine. In the production stage, we will be looking at 3D technology. As an artist, you need to understand how the technology works, because ultimately you're not responsible for the final image on the screen. What you're responsible for are the components to allow the computer to make that final image. You're going to be learning a lot of 3D tools. We're going to be doing some kit bashing, which is quite good fun, but we're also going to be learning the more serious aspects such as polymodeling and sculpting. We also need to do some 2D work, so we'll be looking at texturing and texture creation methods. And then fundamentally we will be looking at how traditional game development works through an iterative process, kind of acknowledging the fact that no art is perfect and deadlines are critical. At the project and pitches stage, the first thing we will cover is the scope or the size of the projects. What should the content actually be? Then I will be discussing how and why you should be pitching a project. Then we will move on to looking at different game art styles and different ways in which you could use representation. And then finally we'll be going over the documentation process, because you need to gather evidence during the production and the development of these projects in order to make your final presentation. In the final presentation stage, I will explain how you break tasks down and how you create a schedule for your work. We will look at how I expect assets to be presented. I will cover the basics of video editing and dubbing so that you can build your presentation. And I will be going over the presentation guide, which gives you some structure and some timing for the presentations to make sure that you cover all of the aspects that are required. So why is this module important? We have 3 main things: collaboration, tools, and presentation. In the game industry, artists need to collaborate. Very few games today are the work of one person. To get some understanding of this, take your favourite game and go and look through the credits of that game. Look at the number of artists that were involved in the production. So one of my favourite indie games is Factorio, and there were 7 artists working on that project, and that's a relatively small team. If we look at the credits for Red Dead Redemption 2, you can see that there's over 100 people involved, and this is just the art team. So if you're going to be an artist in the games industry, you have to learn to collaborate. You'll have to work with a variety of people from different disciplines, and you'll also have to share asset production with other artists. To create art in 3D, you need to understand the tools and you need to use them effectively. There's some basic technology we will need to learn, and to be game art, it needs to be in a game engine, so we will be using Unreal 4. It is the job of the artist to sell their work, not just to show it. Your portfolio is pivotal to your employment. Your art needs to be visually and technically impressive. Industry standards are high, even for level entry jobs. The learning outcomes for this unit are to work collaboratively within a creative environment, to select appropriate art tools and methodologies in response to art production tasks, and to present ideas and communicate effectively. Thank you for listening to the Collaborative Art module overview. Now let's make some art.